this rich Sasquatch history because there's been Sasquatches here the whole time, and the tribes have held their culture here. They're not like on the East Coast. They got annihilated hundreds of years ago, and out here, they still. I mean, they got Hoopa's got one of the best treaties of all the tribes in the country. You have to retain their homelands, so they got an intact culture for the most part. The stories travel down, but the Sasquatches stay here because the resources are still here. You know, salmon almost every year, like big runs of salmon. There's deer everywhere. There's bear. There's raccoons and porcupines and skunks. I mean, there's food all over the place. My only daylight sighting anywhere was a louse camp in 2007, I think it was July. It was 105 degrees, like hotter than today even. So I thought there was gonna be no other around. So me and my buddy just walked right down the middle of the creek and went hiking down the creek and checking out sandbars, this and that, didn't find anything. Went a few miles, probably a mile and a half down. We started getting whistles and knocks, and all of a sudden rocks like this big started flying out over these 40-foot trees, coming like 70, 80 feet at least, 100 feet from the tree line, going over these 40-foot trees, coming landing in the creek behind us. Like not too close, like 50 feet behind us, 40 feet behind us pretty much, 30 was probably the closest. And after a while, I was like, man, my camera just got stolen the week before, but I had a good audio recorder back in the truck, so I went to go get it, and then Monkey went with me. My buddy just hung out there and just hung in a pool because he didn't want to walk back and forth. So he just waited down there. And I guess one followed me back. I was unaware it was behind me. I was totally hypersensitive. Monkey didn't alert to anything. Got back to my truck at Louse Camp. I was parked right at the main spot to go where the trail is, go down to the water. Right when I bent down, I had long hair. My hair kind of was cascading down, and I saw Monkey right there, and she just totally did her full alert, like a mountain lion or something was there. She just goes, bam, ears went straight forward, like she was on alert. And I glanced, and out of the corner of my eye to see this thing just the left half of the body at the top where you pull into Louse. You'll see some big furs up there. There's leaning out. I can see the left whole half of the body. Big, long, skinny arm, broad chest, but super emaciated looking, but had really healthy, shiny hair. Like it was like a blackish, kind of maybe some dark gray mixed in, maybe a little silvery tinge to it, kind of. But it was basically, to me, it looked like dark gray, blackish skin, and but it had hair up to here. Like the whole head was like, I always see all these renditions, and the face is usually kind of hairless. This one was like pretty hairy, but short hair, like that. So I saw Monkey do that. I turned, I caught out the side of my eye, and I went, what? And I got up and looked, and there was nothing there. I'm like, am I tripping? I stood there for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, nothing. I went down and got the recorder, came back up, walked over there with Monkey, didn't hear anything, didn't see anything, walked right where I thought I saw it was, and it was just the thickest, most pungent Squatch smell I ever smelled. It was like eye-watering. There was not a puff of wind, and it hung like a 10, 12-foot circumference, diameter. And you could walk back. I was there for 5 minutes walking back and forth, and I walked, and you'll see when you go out of Louse Camp, head down. I always head down creek. Everyone goes up creek to the film site. I always go down. And I'm coming, so Monkey and I go that way, and I start hearing rustling, like something walking. I look, because you'll see when you walk, there's like the road up to Onion Mountain goes right next to the old Bluff Creek Road. And it's, it's like 30, 40 foot, like basically cliff right there of dirt. And I was like, I hear like little gravel, like pebbles rolling down. I hear little crunching sounds. I'm like, and I look to my right, because you're always walking, because it's just this thin strip of woods, like 30 feet thick, and then it goes to the cliff. But down here's the creek and all, like where the sounds come from the hill at nighttime. So you're always looking that way. I'd walk by this thing like literally several hundred times. There's this big, like 9 foot high, 9.5 foot high, 4 foot wide, full squatch highway trail. I just go, no way. I walk up it. There was still dust, like dust and stuff rolling down from the top of the ledge, and you can see where it had a couple handholds, like something huge, like it was able to reach up and pull itself up. Because I mean, it was, judging by with Cliff there later, it was probably about 9 foot tall, and the arm was like 5.5 foot long, something like that, like 6 foot almost, something like that. I mean, it was way super skinny. It was like its bicep looked like as thick as my forearm. It looked like it didn't have enough muscle to even do anything, and it just, that's all I saw. But then the next year I was there with my buddy Jamie J. And this guy's ex-Special Forces, combat veteran, homicide investigator, you know, ex-cop, blah, 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 like kind of macho guy, badass woodsman. We walked down to the same spot. We walked past that spot. And unbeknownst to us, Robert Letterman, Ranger Letterman, and Bart Catino were huddled down. They'd heard one coming, and we didn't know it. We just were kind of walking, talking at night. Just, you know, I was going to walk down to the bend in the creek and do calls down river. But if you walk down a quarter mile, then you got a straight shot. It's not bouncing around. You can just go straight shot. So I was walking down there to do a call. There, you'll see the washout that happened there, where they closed the road. They dug a huge, like, big culvert thing, and a big ditch. And he had a hurt, and he's, I don't want to walk across. I go, dude, we're only like 200 yards from camp, you wuss. We only got, you know, like, and I pointed. I said, you can see the fire, and where I pointed, it looked like Bart size. It was about 6 foot. Looked like a high school linebacker football player, like big shoulders, you know, just stocky, but smaller, shorter than me because it's level ground. And we're both looking at it, and it just kind of sways back and forth next to this little pine tree. And we're like going, are you looking at what I'm looking at? And we watched it for 5 minutes. I was going, Bart, Bart. They could hear us calling Bart. We didn't get any answer. And finally, after about 5 minutes, it just glided across the path. And as we walked back over there, it went up to that same trail that the big one went, the exact same path. And then I don't think they ever used it ever again, because we walked up there with lights and went up there at night with lights, and it got up there unless it snuck around at the base of the cliff. I don't know if it could have reached all those handholds, but they can jump. They used to call them Kangaroo Man out here, up north of here.
Oh, really?
In the 1800s, the miners.
Do you know any origins of that, the Kangaroo Man?
I just know there's stories. I've seen articles, newspaper articles from like the 1880s, 1890s, 1870s that refer to the Kangaroo Man in Southern Oregon.